Captain Lee Jun stared out the window of his ship at the empty space around Earth. His fleet of human vessels looked tiny compared to the alien ships that sometimes passed by. The other species in the galaxy treated humans like children who had just learned to walk. "Another trade ship from the Vorthan Empire just passed us," said his communications officer. "They didn't even respond to our greeting signal." Lee Jun nodded. This happened every day. The aliens saw humans as too weak and stupid to bother with. Earth had only 200 ships in its entire fleet. Most alien species had thousands or millions of vessels. On the space station above Earth, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho sat in another boring meeting with the Galactic Confederation. The alien leaders were discussing trade routes and defense agreements. Nobody asked for Earth's opinion. "The humans can continue mining titanium for us," said one alien with blue skin and 4 arms. "That's all they're good for." The others laughed. Kim Tae-ho kept his face calm, but inside he felt angry. Humans had been part of the galactic community for 50 years, but they were still treated like servants. Admiral Park Soo-jin walked through the Earth Defense Command Center. She watched her officers working at their stations with old computers and basic equipment. The aliens had better technology, but they never shared it with humans. "Admiral, we got another message from the Confederation," said her aide. "They're asking for more titanium shipments." "Of course they are," Park Soo-jin replied. "What about our request for better shield technology?" Denied again. They said humans aren't ready for advanced systems. Park Soo-jin looked at the display showing Earth's fleet positions. 200 ships to protect an entire planet. Most alien species had more ships just for training exercises. In the far reaches of space, the Vorthan Empire continued building their massive war fleet. Supreme Admiral Kethmuller stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching thousands of new warships being constructed in the orbital shipyards. "How many ships do we have now?" he asked his second-in-command. 2.3 million active vessels, Supreme Admiral, each one equipped with our most advanced weapons and shields. Kethmuller smiled with satisfaction. The Vorthan Empire had been building this fleet for 400 years. No other species in the galaxy could match their military power. Their ships could destroy entire moons with a single shot. "The smaller species continue to beg for our protection," his officer continued. "The humans sent another request yesterday." "Humans?" Kethmuller laughed. "Those primitives with their tiny fleet of scrap metal? Why would they need protection? Who would bother attacking such a weak species?" Back on Earth, Captain Lee Jun received new orders to patrol the outer system. His ship, the Sol Dawn, was one of the newer human vessels, but it still looked old compared to alien technology. The hull was patched in several places, and the weapons were basic plasma cannons. "Captain, we're getting a signal from an alien merchant ship," his communications officer reported. "They're asking us to move out of their way." Lee Jun felt frustrated. The merchant ship was half the size of his warship, but they treated him like he was in their way. "Tell them we're conducting security patrols in human space." They said they don't recognize human authority over this area. This was the reality for humans in the galaxy. Even in their own solar system, they were not respected. The aliens saw Earth as a source of cheap materials and labor, nothing more. Dr. Choi Min-seo worked late in her laboratory deep underground. She was part of a secret research project that most humans didn't know about. While the galaxy ignored human science, a small team of researchers had been developing something revolutionary. "The test results are promising," she told her assistant. "Human brain patterns show unique capabilities that other species don't have." "What kind of capabilities?" "We think differently than they do. While aliens follow logical steps in order, humans can make connections between things that seem unrelated. We adapt faster and find creative solutions." For 15 years, this secret project had been studying human advantages. The galaxy saw humans as primitive, but the research showed something else. Human minds worked in ways that alien minds could not match. Colonel Yang Hyun-woo visited the secret facility to check on progress. He was one of only 800 humans who knew about the project. "How much longer until we can test the new technology?" he asked Dr. Choi. "Soon. We've figured out how to use human brain patterns to control systems that aliens can't operate. Their minds are too rigid. The technology they were developing was based on temporal manipulation. While aliens built bigger guns and stronger shields, humans were learning to bend time itself. In the Galactic Confederation Council, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho made another request for humanity to gain a stronger voice in galactic affairs. Earth contributes valuable resources to the galaxy, he argued. We deserve better representation. Humans control only 0.3% of galactic trade, replied the council speaker, an alien that looked like a giant insect. Your species is still too young and weak for important responsibilities. We've been part of the galactic community for 50 years, Kim Tae-ho said. 50 years is nothing. The Vorthan Empire has existed for 10,000 years. They have earned their position through strength and wisdom. Kim Tae-ho left the meeting feeling defeated. No matter what humans accomplished, the aliens would always see them as inferior. On his flagship, Supreme Admiral Keth Moeller reviewed reports from across the galaxy. His empire controlled 30% of all inhabited worlds. His fleet was the most powerful military force in galactic history. Supreme Admiral, the Council has approved your request for a demonstration of power, his aide reported. Excellent. It's time to remind the galaxy why the Vorthan Empire leads. Choose a target that will send a clear message. What kind of target do you suggest? Keth Moeller thought for a moment. Something weak and defenseless. Something that will be destroyed quickly and completely. The other species need to see what happens to those who might challenge us. His aide reviewed the list of potential targets. The human homeworld would make an excellent demonstration, Supreme Admiral. They have almost no defenses. Perfect. Humanity will serve as an example of Vorthan power. Neither Keth Moeller nor any other alien in the galaxy knew about the secret project hidden beneath Earth's surface. They had no idea that humans had developed technology that could change everything. The galaxy was about to learn that appearance and reality were very different things. Dr. Choi Min-seo walked through the underground research facility buried deep in the Himalayan mountains. The corridors were filled with the hum of advanced machinery that the galaxy had never seen before. For 15 years, humanity's brightest minds had worked in complete secrecy. The new test results are incredible, her assistant said, showing her a data tablet. The cascade drive worked perfectly during the simulation. Dr. Choi studied the numbers. While the galaxy focused on building bigger weapons and stronger shields, humans had discovered something else entirely. They had learned to manipulate time itself. Has Colonel Yang seen these results? She asked. He's coming down now. He wants a full demonstration. Colonel Yang Hyun-woo arrived at the testing chamber where a small prototype device sat on a metal table. It looked simple, just a box, with glowing crystals inside. But this device could change the balance of power in the entire galaxy. Show me how it works, Yang said. Engineer Bae Sun-mi activated the prototype. The air around the device began to shimmer like water. The cascade drive creates what we call temporal fragments. Time splits into multiple streams around the device. I don't understand, Yang admitted. Think of time like a river, Dr. Choi explained. Usually everything flows in one direction, but humans can create rocks in the river that split the water into different streams. We can exist in several streams at once. Bae Sun-mi pointed to her computer screen. Watch this simulation. An enemy ship fires at us. In normal time, we either dodge or get hit. But with the cascade drive, we can exist in multiple timelines. In one timeline, we dodge left. In another, we dodge right. And in a third, we attack. The enemy sees all three possibilities at once, Dr. Choi continued. Their targeting systems can't lock onto us because we're in too many places at the same time. Yang stared at the demonstration. How is this possible? It comes from how human brains work, Bae Sun-mi explained. Alien minds think in straight lines. They follow logical steps from A to B to C. But humans think differently. We make connections between ideas that seem unrelated. We see patterns that others miss. Dr. Choi nodded. The cascade drive requires a type of thinking that only humans can do. We've tested it with alien brain patterns. Their minds are too organized and logical. They can't handle the chaos of multiple timelines. Yang walked around the prototype device. How many ships can we equip with this technology? All of them, Bei Sunmi replied. We've been secretly installing cascade drives in Earth's entire fleet over the past 2 years. The alien observers think we're just doing routine maintenance. 200 ships with this technology, Yang said quietly. What can they do? Dr. Choi showed him another simulation. A single human ship faced 50 alien vessels in the test. When the cascade drive activated, the human ship seemed to multiply. It attacked from 12 different positions at once. All 50 alien ships were destroyed before they could return fire. The enemy can't fight what they can't target, she explained. And they can't target something that exists in multiple timelines. In another part of the facility, Communications Officer Lim Da-eun monitored alien communications across the galaxy. Her job was to make sure no other species discovered humanity's secret project. Any unusual activity? Her supervisor asked. Nothing. The Vorthan Empire is still building ships. The Confederation is still treating us like children. Nobody suspects that humans have advanced technology. Good. How much longer can we keep this secret? As long as needed. The aliens are so convinced of our inferiority that they don't even spy on us properly. This was humanity's greatest advantage. The galaxy had underestimated them so completely that no one bothered to investigate human capabilities. Alien spies focused on each other, not on the species they considered harmless. Fleet Marshal No Kyung-ho arrived at the secret facility for his first briefing. He had just been promoted to Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, but he knew nothing about the Cascade Drive project. This changes everything, he said after seeing the demonstration. With this technology, our small fleet could defeat much larger forces. That's the idea, Colonel Yang replied. But we hope we never have to use it. This is purely defensive technology. How do the ship's crews know how to operate the drives? They don't, Dr. Choi explained. The drives are controlled by AI systems that interface directly with human neural patterns. The crews just need to think in their natural human way. The AI does the rest. No studied the technical specifications. So our advantage comes from being human. Exactly. The same mental flexibility that aliens see as primitive chaos is actually our greatest strength. In space, Captain Lee Jun continued his routine patrols, unaware that his ship had been equipped with revolutionary technology. The Sol Dawn looked the same from the outside, but hidden systems throughout the vessel could bend reality itself. Captain, another Vorthan patrol is approaching, his navigation officer reported. Standard procedure. Send a greeting and maintain course. The Vorthan ships ignored the human vessel as usual. Their sensors detected the Sol Dawn as a primitive ship with basic weapons and weak shields. They had no idea they were looking at one of the most advanced warships in the galaxy. Sir, should we demonstrate our new capabilities? Asked his weapons officer, who was one of the few crew members briefed on the secret technology. Negative. We maintain the illusion of weakness until ordered otherwise. This was the hardest part of the secret project. Human crews had to pretend to be inferior while possessing technology that made them nearly invincible. They had to act weak while being incredibly strong. Back in the research facility, Dr. Choi received a priority message from her monitoring stations. The Vorthan Empire is mobilizing their fleet, she reported to the command team. For what purpose? Colonel Yang asked. Unknown. But they're gathering ships from across their territory. Something big is happening. Engineer Bei Sunmi checked the status of Earth's hidden defenses. All systems are ready. If they come here, they'll get a surprise they'll never forget. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, Yang replied. But if it does, humanity is ready. The irony was complete. For centuries, the galaxy had built bigger and bigger fleets. They had competed to create the most powerful weapons and strongest defenses. But humans had taken a completely different approach. While aliens focused on force, humans had focused on thinking. While aliens built linear improvements to old technology, humans had discovered entirely new physics. While aliens saw chaos as weakness, humans had learned to use chaos as a weapon. The aliens will never see it coming, Dr. Choi said quietly. They're so convinced of their superiority that they can't imagine being wrong. Tactical Coordinator Wan Jihai ran final tests on the fleet's combat systems. Each human ship could now exist in up to 20 different timeline fragments simultaneously. A battle that should be impossible to win could be over in minutes. All ships report ready, she told the command center. The galaxy thinks we have 200 weak ships. Actually, we have 4,000 ship timeline combinations that can attack from positions that don't exist in normal space. Quantum navigator Kang Do-hyun prepared his experimental vessel, the Soul's Thunder, for potential combat. His ship was equipped with the most advanced cascade drive prototype, capable of operating in over 50 timeline fragments. If shooting starts, I can attack the same target from 6 different moments in time, he reported. The enemy won't know what hit them. The secret was almost too big to believe. Humanity, the species that everyone ignored, had developed technology that made traditional warfare obsolete. They had turned their supposed weakness into unimaginable strength. Soon, the galaxy would learn that centuries of fleet building could indeed be erased in seconds. Supreme Admiral Kethamolar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominator, watching his massive fleet assemble in the void of space. 2.3 million warships had gathered from across the Vorthan Empire. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Supreme Admiral, all fleet commanders are ready for your address, his communications officer reported. Keth Moeller activated the broadcast system that would send his message to every inhabited world in the galaxy. His image appeared on billions of screens across thousands of species. Citizens of the galaxy, behold the power of the Vorthan Empire, he began. For too long, some have forgotten their proper place in the galactic order. Today, we will provide a demonstration that will remind everyone why the strong rule and the weak serve. On Earth, Communications Officer Lim Da-yoon was monitoring routine galactic broadcasts when the Supreme Admiral's face appeared on her screen. She quickly called for her supervisors to watch. The primitive species of the Sol system will serve as our example, Kethmuller continued. In exactly 72 standard hours, the human homeworld will be completely destroyed. Let this remind all species that challenging the natural order brings only extinction. Lim Da-yoon felt her blood turn cold. She immediately sent an emergency alert to Earth Defense Command and the Secret Research Facility. Every human ship, station, and settlement in the Sol system will be eliminated, the Supreme Admiral declared. This is not a conquest. This is extermination. We will leave nothing behind except empty space and a lesson for others. The broadcast ended, leaving the galaxy in shocked silence. Admiral Park Soo-jin received the alert within minutes and called an emergency meeting of Earth's military leadership. The command center filled with officers who had never expected to face complete annihilation. 2.3 million ships, she announced to the room. The largest invasion force in galactic history is coming to destroy us completely. What are our options? Asked a young captain. We can evacuate as many civilians as possible, Park Soo-jin replied. Or we can make our final stand here. How long can we possibly last against that kind of force? Against conventional enemies, our 200 ships might last 15 to 20 minutes. The room fell silent. Everyone understood the mathematics of the situation. It was hopeless. Fleet Marshal No Kyung-ho entered the meeting room with Colonel Yang Hyun-woo and Dr. Choi Min-seo. The three of them had been in emergency session since the broadcast. There is another option, No announced, but it means revealing our greatest secret. What secret? Admiral Park asked. Dr. Choi stepped forward. For 15 years, humanity has been developing technology that the galaxy has never seen. We are not as weak as everyone believes, she quickly explained the Cascade Drive project to the shocked military leaders. The room erupted with questions and disbelief. You're telling us our ships can exist in multiple timelines? One officer asked. That's exactly what I'm telling you, Dr. Choi replied. Why weren't we informed about this? Admiral Park demanded. Security, Yang answered. The fewer people who knew, the safer the secret remained. No addressed the room with authority. The question now is simple. Do we evacuate and let humanity scatter across the galaxy as refugees? Or do we make our stand and show the Vorthans what humans are really capable of? If this technology works as described, we could actually win, Park said slowly. Not just win, Dr. Choi corrected. We could demonstrate that Earth is not the helpless world everyone believes it to be. In the Galactic Confederation Council chambers, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho made a desperate final plea for assistance. The Vorthon Empire plans to commit genocide against humanity, he argued. This violates every principle of galactic civilization. The council speaker, the insect-like alien who had dismissed human concerns for decades, clicked his mandibles dismissively. The Vorthon Empire has the right to conduct military demonstrations within their sphere of influence. Earth is not within their sphere of influence. The Sol system is classified as unprotected territory. No major power has claimed responsibility for defending it. Kim Tae-ho felt rage building inside him. So you'll just watch while an entire species is wiped out? The humans should have built better defenses if they wanted to survive, another council member said. This is how the galaxy has always worked. We're requesting emergency refugee status for human civilians, Kim pressed. Denied. Processing refugee applications takes months. The Vorthon demonstration will be over in 3 days. Kim Tae-ho left the council chambers knowing that humanity stood alone. The species that had mocked and dismissed them for decades would now watch their extinction with cold indifference. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, other species began placing bets on how long humanity would survive the Vorthon assault. The most optimistic estimates gave Earth 20 minutes after the first shot was fired. I bet 15 minutes, said a trader on the Centauri exchange. The humans might get lucky and destroy a few Vorthon scouts before being overwhelmed. 5 minutes maximum, another responded. Have you seen human ships? They're held together with metal plates and hope. The real question is whether any humans will surrender, a third added. Though I don't think the Vorthons are planning to take prisoners. The galaxy's communications networks buzzed with excited discussions about the upcoming demonstration. Many species saw it as entertainment. Others viewed it as a necessary reminder of their place in the galactic hierarchy. Only a few quiet voices expressed concern about the morality of watching genocide for amusement. Back on Earth, Captain Lee Jun received orders to return to the Sol system immediately. His patrol near the outer planets was cancelled as all human ships were recalled for the final defense of their homeworld. Captain, are the rumors true? His communications officer asked privately. Do we really have secret weapons? I don't know, Lee replied honestly, but I know we're not running away. As his ship turned toward Earth, Lee thought about his family on the planet's surface. If humanity was going to die, they would die fighting. That was better than living as refugees begging for mercy from species that had never respected them. Engineer Bae Sunmi worked frantically in the research facility, making final adjustments to the Cascade drive systems. She had 71 hours to ensure that every human ship could operate at maximum temporal efficiency. The drives are responding perfectly, she reported. Each ship can now maintain stable existence in up to 17 timeline fragments. What does that mean for combat effectiveness? Colonel Yang asked. It means that when the Vorthons arrive, they won't be fighting 200 human ships. They'll be fighting over 3,000 ship timeline combinations, all attacking from positions that exist outside normal space. Quantum navigator Kang Do-hyun ran final tests on the Sol's Thunder, the most advanced ship in the human fleet. His vessel could operate in 53 different timeline fragments simultaneously. If this works, he told his crew, we're going to make history. And if it doesn't work, his weapons officer asked, then we'll die like humans should die, fighting back. Across Earth, families said goodbye to each other. Some evacuated to the outer colonies, but most chose to stay. If humanity was making its final stand, they wanted to be part of it. President Yoo Ha-neul addressed the world from her office in Seoul. Citizens of Earth, we face the greatest challenge in human history, but we will not face it as victims. We will face it as warriors who refuse to surrender. The galaxy has underestimated us for too long. Tomorrow they will learn what happens when you threaten humanity's home. The countdown had begun. In 67 hours, the Vorthon Armada would arrive at Earth expecting to find a helpless target. Instead, they would encounter something that would change the galaxy forever. Humanity was done being underestimated. The Vorthon Armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system like a metal storm. 2.3 million warships materialized in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the distant light of Earth's sun. The fleet stretched across space in a wall of destruction that seemed to go on forever. Supreme Admiral Keth Moeller stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominator, watching his sensors map the pathetic human defenses. 200 small ships floated in a defensive line between the Vorthon fleet and Earth. They looked like toys compared to his massive dreadnoughts. "Is this some kind of joke?" he asked his tactical officer. "Where are the rest of their ships?" "These appear to be all the humans have, Supreme Admiral. Our intelligence was correct. They possess no significant military capability." Keth Moeller laughed. He had expected more of a challenge, even from primitives. "Begin the attack. I want this over, quickly." On the bridge of the Sol Dawn, Captain Lee Jun watched the massive alien fleet appear on his screens. His crew was silent, staring at numbers that should have meant certain death. "Captain, we're receiving final orders from Fleet Command," his communications officer reported. "Put it through." Fleet Marshal No Kyung-ho's voice filled the bridge. "All ships prepare for cascade drive activation. Remember your training, trust your instincts, show the galaxy what humans can do." Lee Jun had learned about the secret technology only hours earlier. Like most of the fleet's captains, he still didn't fully understand how it worked. "All stations prepare for combat," he ordered. "Activate the cascade drive on my mark." Tactical Coordinator Wan Ji-hai sat in the underground command center, watching data streams from all 200 human ships. Each vessel was ready to split into multiple timeline fragments. The greatest military gamble in human history was about to begin. "Vorthon fleet is charging weapons," she reported. "Time to impact, 47 seconds. The first Vorthon salvo launched across space. Thousands of plasma beams erupted from the alien ships, carrying enough energy to turn entire planets into molten rock. The combined firepower could have destroyed every major city on Earth in a single strike. "Cascade drive activation in 5 seconds," Wan Ji-hai announced. 4, 3, 2, 1, execute. Reality broke apart. Captain Lee Jun felt his mind stretch across multiple timelines as the Sol Dawn suddenly existed in 17 different versions of the same moment. Through the ship's neural interface, he could perceive all 17 possibilities at once. In Timeline Fragment 1, his ship dodged, left and fired at a Vorthon cruiser. In Fragment 2, he dove below the enemy formation and attacked their flanks. In Fragment 3, he appeared behind them and struck their engines. All 17 attacks happened simultaneously. The Vorthon plasma beams, which should have destroyed the human fleet instantly, struck empty space. The human ships were no longer where the targeting systems expected them to be. They were everywhere and nowhere, existing in quantum superposition across multiple realities. Supreme Admiral Keth Moeller stared at his tactical display in confusion. "What just happened to their ships?" "I don't know, sir. Our sensors are detecting impossible readings. Each human vessel appears to have multiplied." "That's not possible." "Sir, we're taking casualties. Heavy casualties." The Vorthon advance force of 100,000 ships came under attack from angles that shouldn't exist. Human vessels appeared inside their formations, striking from positions that violated basic physics. Quantum navigator Kang Do-hyun piloted the Sol's Thunder through 53 different timeline fragments. His ship attacked the same Vorthon dreadnought from 6 different moments in time, all in the same instant. The massive alien warship, protected by shields that could withstand the explosion of a small star, simply ceased to exist. It had been destroyed by weapons fire that came from its own future. "This is impossible," the Vorthon tactical officer reported. "Our ships are being destroyed by attacks that originate from non-existent positions." "Deploy the reserve fleet," Keth Moeller ordered. "All ships full assault." But the reserves faced the same problem. Human ships existed in multiple timeline fragments, making them impossible to target effectively. Fourth-hand weapons designed to destroy targets in normal space-time could not lock onto enemies that existed in 17 different realities at once. Captain Lee Jun watched his weapons destroy Vorthan ships with surgical precision. The alien vessels were powerful, but they were bound by the rules of linear time. They could only exist in one timeline fragment, making them easy targets for weapons that attacked from multiple temporal positions. "Sir, we've destroyed over 3,000 enemy ships without taking a single hit," his weapons officer reported with amazement. "Stay focused," Lee replied. "We're just getting started." Across the human fleet, similar scenes played out. Ships that should have been destroyed in the first moments of battle were systematically eliminating the most powerful military force in galactic history. Engineer Bei Sunmi monitored the battle from the research facility, watching her life's work prove itself in actual combat. The cascade drives were performing beyond her most optimistic projections. "Temporal stability is holding at 97%, she reported. "All ships are maintaining multiple timeline fragments without system stress." "How many Vorthon ships have we destroyed?" Dr. Choi asked. "Current count is approaching 500,000. The enemy formation is collapsing." On his flagship, Supreme Admiral Keth Moeller watched centuries of military planning crumble in minutes. His supposedly invincible fleet was being torn apart by an enemy he couldn't even properly target. "How many ships have we lost?" he demanded. "Over 400,000, sir. And the number is rising rapidly." "How is this possible? They're primitives with scrap metal ships." "Sir, I recommend immediate retreat. We need to regroup and analyze their capabilities." No, the Vorthan Empire does not retreat from primitives. But his pride was leading his fleet toward total annihilation. Human ships continued their impossible assault, existing in multiple timelines while picking apart the Vorthon formation with precise, devastating attacks. Communications officer Lim Da-un intercepted panicked transmissions from the alien fleet. Vorthan commanders were reporting attacks from ghost ships that appeared and disappeared at will. "They have no idea what they're fighting," she reported to the command center. "Their entire tactical doctrine is based on conventional warfare." Tactical coordinator Wang Jihai watched the battle statistics with satisfaction. Vorthan losses are now at 800,000 ships. Their advance formations are completely destroyed. "What about our casualties?" Colonel Yang asked. "Zero. We haven't lost a single vessel." In the depths of space, the battle continued with increasing fury. Vorthan ships tried desperately to adapt to an enemy that existed outside their understanding of reality. But their weapons and tactics were useless against targets that could attack from multiple timelines simultaneously. Captain Lee Jun coordinated with other human ships through the neural link network. Together, the fleet moved like a single organism, each vessel supporting the others across multiple timeline fragments. "Focus fire on their command ships," he ordered. "Take out their ability to coordinate." Human weapons struck Vorthan command, vessels from impossible angles. Admiral after admiral found their flagships destroyed by attacks that seemed to come from every direction at once. Supreme Admiral Keth Moeller watched his tactical display as more red dots disappeared, representing the destruction of his ships. In 30 minutes of battle, he had lost over 1 million vessels to an enemy force that should have been eliminated in seconds. "Sir, emergency withdrawal is recommended," his tactical officer pleaded. "We're facing technology we don't understand. The Fourth Han Empire has never retreated," Keth Moeller replied stubbornly. "We will destroy these primitives if it takes our entire fleet." But even as he spoke, his own flagship came under attack. Human ships appeared around the Eternal Dominator, striking from timeline fragments that his shields couldn't protect against. The massive dreadnought, larger than most space stations, began to break apart under the assault of weapons that attacked from multiple moments in time. Keth Moeller realized too late that he had made a fatal mistake. He had underestimated humanity, and his arrogance would cost him everything. Quantum navigator Kang Do-hyun positioned the Soul's Thunder for the final attack on the Vorthon flagship. His ship existed in 53 timeline fragments, all converging on the same target. "Firing all weapons across all timelines," he announced. The Eternal Dominator, protected by the most advanced defenses in the galaxy, simply ceased to exist. It was destroyed so completely that no debris remained. The battle was over. In 34 minutes, humanity had destroyed the most powerful fleet in galactic history without losing a single ship. The galaxy would never be the same. The silence in space was deafening. Where moments before the largest military fleet in galactic history had threatened to destroy Earth, now only empty void remained. 2.3 million Vorthon warships had been reduced to scattered debris that drifted slowly through the Sol system. Captain Lee Jun stared at his tactical display, hardly believing what he saw. The Sol Dawn had returned to normal space-time, existing in only one timeline fragment again. Around him, the rest of the human fleet was also powering down their cascade drives. "Captain, are we really the only ones left?" "His communications," officer asked in wonder. "Scan the area again," Lee ordered. "Make sure." The results came back the same. Not a single Vorthon ship remained intact. The most powerful military force in the galaxy had been completely eliminated in 34 minutes. "Sir, we're receiving a priority transmission from Earth," his officer reported. President Yu Hanul's face appeared on the main screen. She looked as shocked as everyone else by what had just happened. "Citizens of Earth and citizens of the galaxy who are watching," she began. "Today marks the beginning of a new era. For too long, the strong have bullied the weak. Today we proved that strength comes not from the size of your fleet, but from the courage to defend what is right." On worlds across the galaxy, billions of beings watched in stunned disbelief. The species they had mocked and dismissed had just accomplished something that should have been impossible. In the Galactic Confederation Council chambers, Ambassador Kim Tae-ho stood before the same aliens who had refused to help humanity just days earlier. The chamber was filled with nervous whispers and fearful glances. "Honored Council," he began with a slight smile, "I believe humanity's status in the galactic community needs to be reconsidered." The council speaker's mandibles clicked nervously. "Ambassador Kim, we were not aware that humanity possessed such advanced military capabilities." "No, you weren't. You were too busy assuming we were primitive to actually investigate what we were capable of. Surely humanity doesn't wish to become an aggressive power like the Vorthans," another council member said hopefully. Kim Tae-ho's expression grew serious. "Humanity seeks only peace and mutual respect. But we will no longer tolerate being treated as inferiors by species who refuse to see our true potential." Admiral Park Soo-jin stood in the Earth Defense Command Center, watching status reports flow in from across the galaxy. The destruction of the Vorthon fleet had created a massive power vacuum. Dozens of species that had lived under Vorthon protection were now seeking new allies. "Admiral, we're receiving requests for defense agreements from 17 different species," her aide reported. "What kind of requests?" "They want Earth to provide military protection for their worlds. They're offering trade agreements and technology sharing in return." Park Soo-jin almost laughed. 3 days ago, these same species wouldn't have bothered responding to human communications. Now they were begging for Earth's protection. "Prepare a response," she ordered. "Tell them we're willing to discuss mutual defense agreements based on equality and respect." Dr. Choi Min-seo walked through her research facility, now no longer secret. The entire galaxy knew about humanity's temporal warfare technology. Scientists from dozens of species were requesting permission to study the cascade drive systems. "How many research requests have we received?" she asked her assistant. "Over 300 so far. Everyone wants to understand how the drives work." Dr. Choi smiled. "Send them our standard response. The technology requires human neural patterns to operate. They can study it all they want, but they can't use it. This was humanity's ultimate protection. The cascade drive technology was not just advanced, it was specifically adapted to human brain patterns. Other species could copy the hardware, but they lacked the mental flexibility to control multiple timeline fragments. Engineer Bae Sunmi received visitors from the Altarian Science Collective, a species known for their advanced mathematics. They had come to Earth hoping to understand temporal manipulation technology. "We've studied your published research," their lead scientist said through a translation device. "The mathematical concepts are sound, but we cannot replicate the results." "That's Because your minds work differently than ours, Bei Sunmi explained. You think in organized patterns, humans think in chaos. The cascade drive requires controlled chaos to function. Could you teach us? We can try, but your species has spent millions of years evolving logical thinking. You can't just decide to think chaotically. Fleet Marshal No Kyung-ho met with representatives from the former Vorthon territories. Dozens of worlds that had been forced to serve the Empire were now free, but they needed protection from other aggressive species. We offer Earth full access to our mining operations, said the representative from the Kepler system. In return, we ask for your protection. And what makes you think we're interested in becoming the new Galactic Empire? No asked. Because you have the power to rule, but you choose not to. That makes you different from every other major power in the galaxy. No considered this. Humanity had never sought to conquer other species. Even with overwhelming military superiority, they preferred cooperation to domination. We'll consider defensive agreements, he said finally, but Earth doesn't rule other worlds. We protect our friends. Communications Officer Lim Da-un monitored conversations across the galactic communication networks. The tone of discussions about humanity had changed completely. They're calling us the Temporal Fleet, she reported to her supervisors. Some species are referring to Earth as the new galactic superpower. How are they reacting to our victory? Her supervisor asked. Mixed reactions, fear, respect, confusion. Many species are trying to figure out how to approach us diplomatically. Any threats? A few. The hegemony of suns is claiming that humanity violated galactic warfare conventions. But nobody is taking them seriously after what happened to the Vorthons. Quantum navigator Kang Do-hyun found himself reassigned to diplomatic duties. His success in the battle had made him famous across the galaxy. Other species wanted to meet the pilot who had destroyed Supreme Admiral Keth Mullar's flagship. Navigator Kang. How does it feel to be the most feared human in the galaxy? Asked a reporter. From the Centauri News Network. I'm not interested in being feared, Kang replied. I'd rather be respected. What message do you have for species that might consider threatening Earth? Kang thought for a moment. Don't mistake our desire for peace as weakness. We proved we can defend ourselves, but we'd rather work together than fight. Diplomatic envoy Shin Woo-jin arrived at the Galactic Confederation headquarters with new credentials. Instead of being Earth's representative to the Council, he was now humanity's chief diplomatic negotiator for the entire galaxy. The Confederation is requesting a formal meeting to discuss humanity's new role in galactic affairs, he reported to Earth. What kind of role are they suggesting? President Yu asked. They want Earth to join the Security Council as a permanent member. They're also offering us control over former Vorthon trade routes. And what do they want in return? A promise that we won't use our technology to conquer other species. President Yu laughed. They're afraid we'll become the next Vorthon Empire. Can you blame them? We just eliminated the most powerful military force in galactic history. Tactical Coordinator. 1G Hai studied reports from across the galaxy about other species trying to develop their own temporal weapons. Most attempts had failed completely. The Rigel Consortium tried to build their own cascade drive, she reported. Their test ship was destroyed when the drive tore itself apart. Any successful attempts? Colonel Yang asked. None. A few species have managed to create small temporal distortions, but nothing that could be used in combat. The technology really does require human-specific neural patterns. This gave humanity a permanent technological advantage. Even if other species learned the science behind temporal manipulation, they lacked the mental flexibility to use it effectively. Captain, Li Jun received new orders to lead a diplomatic mission to the Andromeda cluster. 3 species in that region had requested Earth's assistance with territorial disputes. Sir, how do we handle being the galaxy's new peacekeepers? His communications officer asked. Carefully, Li replied. Power corrupts, and we have more power than any species in galactic history. We need to remember who we are. 6 months after the battle, Earth had become the center of galactic politics. Species that had ignored humanity for decades now competed for Earth's attention and friendship. President Yu Ha-Nul addressed the reformed Galactic Confederation from her office in Seoul. Her words were broadcast to every inhabited world in known space. Fellow citizens of the galaxy, humanity did not seek the position we now hold, but we accept the responsibility that comes with our capabilities. We will use our strength to protect the weak, not to dominate them. The age of empires ruling through fear is over. The new galactic order will be based on cooperation, mutual respect, and the principle that all species deserve the chance to reach their full potential. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Appearances could be deceiving. The species that seemed weakest might actually be the strongest. And sometimes, the most advanced technology came not from superior resources, but from thinking differently than everyone.